Hello, welcome to the UK Run Chat podcast. I'm Michelle, and my guest today is Toby Freeman. He's founder of the Robin Cancer Trust, which he set up after losing his brother Robin to a rare cancer. Now, Toby's mission ever since has been to save lives through awareness, education, and conversation, and that's what we're doing today. He's taken that mission to the road recently as well, quite literally, in a giant pair of testicles, which we'll be talking about through his big Ballsy challenge, which is a 500-kilometre running campaign to get people talking about testicular cancer. Welcome, Toby. Thank you so much for coming on. Great to have you on.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm a big fan, so I feel like I'm really excited. It's just, one of those podcasts I love listening to. So I'm very excited to be here joining you and hopefully won't have to listen to my own voice.
Well, before we kind of get into the challenge and everything, can you kind of give us a rundown of what the Robin Cancer Trust is and tell us a little bit about Robin?
Of course, yeah. So going back many moons now to sort of 2010, Rob, I'm the youngest of three, so Rob's my elder brother, 2 years between us. We're very, very close. And actually, he was really fit, really healthy, really health conscious. And I would say I perhaps was not at that time of my life. I was leading a unhealthy lifestyle. I worked in a bar. Too much drinking and not enough moving around, perhaps. And actually, Rob was just in his prime of life. He was career driven. He'd moved out. He was all about his fitness goals. I remember him working hard to get abs for the summer for some reason, as you do. And he started having these signs and symptoms. And one of the things I remember going all those years back was him complaining he couldn't run more than 2 miles in the morning. He used to run every morning. And back then, when you're not running, you think, oh, that's absolutely mad. I couldn't get up and run 200 meters. But he was complaining because that was where he was at with his fitness. And unfortunately, being a young guy, not having been told signs and symptoms, my brother had a rare form of testicular cancer and he missed these signs and symptoms. So he had fatigue, he had night sweats, he had a cough, he had a sudden change in bowel habits. All of these things were taken and sort of dealt with, but not collectively looked at and thought there might be something serious going on here. So my brother was diagnosed with this rare form of testicular cancer. It was actually in his chest, which is why he had a cough. It was affecting his ability to run, to move about and do what he wanted to do. So a very long story short, over a 10-month period of grueling chemotherapy, bone marrow transplants, secondary cancer diagnosis. It was a really arduous and challenging year for everyone. But I watched my brother go from prime of his life to literally 10 months later holding his hand on his deathbed. And having gone through that tragedy, having seen my brother, who was really healthy, didn't smoke, didn't drink, and was really, really active at the gym and playing football and running, I watched him go to, what happened to him. And I thought, well, something good has to come from this. If Rob can miss the signs and symptoms, if Rob doesn't know what to look out for, then this could happen to anyone. That was the conversation we had as a family. And from that, the Robin Cancer Trust was born. So we decided to raise awareness in young people. And we took that wicked sense of humour that my brother always had right to the end. And we thought we can use that to engage young people. So in 2012, we started the Robin Cancer Trust, and we were like, we'll do testicular and ovarian cancer because we specialise in germ cell cancers. And these are the cells that make up the reproductive organs. So the testicles and the ovaries, so it can affect both young men and both women. So it was just about awareness, education, and over the years, we've listened to our community and we've moved into support. So we do schools, talks, colleges, universities, businesses, lunch and learns. We'll go into a place and talk to people about signs and symptoms, risk factors, how to check yourself, what to look out for, and how to be empowered with your health. And then we'll be out in the community. We have these giant testicles and ovaries that we wear over our head, stickers, temporary tattoos to engage people. Lots of social media campaigns, working with partners to reach new audiences all over the UK, and then supporting through our partner hospitals and building out support services for people affected anywhere in the UK. So we want to make sure wherever you are, you get the same experience, the same help, the same support if you've been affected. Part of my role as CEO and as founder, as my team do amazing work, is where do I have my impact? And I think that was the idea of, right, well, I need to lead this community. I need to break down as many barriers. I need to lead by example. And how can I do that? Let's get myself a giant testicle suit, as you do. That's the natural thought. And the trustees go, okay, Toby, that's fine. We'll sign off on that. And my team roll their eyes and go, okay, yep, okay, we'll do that. And I got sign off from my wife as well, bless her, because running does need a lot of support.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, I'm going to take on this massive challenge because I want to do something that would be seen as really embarrassing. I talk about stigma, I talk about breaking down embarrassment, I talk about this is normal. Well, let's do something that most people would find absolutely ridiculous and run around like a giant ball bag. And it's been absolutely amazing.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the challenge that you set yourself then, because there's a lot to it, isn't there? You set yourself a huge fundraising target.
I have. So 2,400 guys are affected every year in the UK, and testicular cancer is 95% curable. So the aim of the game for us is to make everyone aware, get everyone checking themselves and making sure if anything's wrong, going straight to the doctors. And as a quick aside, I'll just tell everyone how to check themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
After you've gone for a run, because I'll make this running, everything can be a bit tight and high and everything in there. So we want to have a nice warm bath and shower, clean off, decompress after a run. Our balls are like a temperature gauge, so everything then hangs nice and loosey-goosey, easy to check. So hot bath or shower, best time to do it. 30 seconds to a minute on each testicle. You're just checking for any irregularities or anything that's not normal for you. Anything that's in one that isn't in the other needs to go and get checked out. And anything that wasn't there the last time you checked needs to go and get checked by a medical professional. So we are looking for lumps. We are looking for swelling. One is normally a bit bigger than the other, but we're talking about abnormal swelling, size of a satsuma, size of a orange. We are looking for heaviness, a dragging sensation that you're feeling all the time. Obviously, any pain and pain that spreads up to the lower back. Obviously, any pain in your testicle needs to get checked out as well. And then a hardness. So you don't want to be squeezing them. We all know that's going to hurt, but they shouldn't be rock hard like a pebble as well. So we're looking out for these things. If it's in one, not the other. If it's abnormal for you, straight to your doctors. And yeah, so we've got these 2,400 guys that we're trying to reach, and set myself a target of £240,000 so that we can support with a free cancer support pack and support from one-to-one from our CNS for every single person diagnosed in the UK. Sounds like a massive target, but it's only £100 per person. So that's the aim of the game. And I set myself a 500-kilometre challenge to take on this year. I'm nearly there. I had a couple of setbacks, as we do as runners, a couple of chest infections that threw me off.
Yeah.
But we're ticking through nicely. So I think I've just hit over the 400,000 kilometres run as a giant ball bag so far.
So are you doing all this distance as at races, or is some of it around your own town?
Yeah, no, to be honest, because they're so big, they're sitting behind me, but they're so big, I don't tend to have them in the house. So these have been races, or there's been a couple of marathons I've done with other people taking on charity challenges. With a partner, we launched a partnership this month for Men's Health Awareness Month. And we did a half marathon in the shape of a testicle, pair of balls, around London. So there's been a couple of ad hoc, but most of it has been at races. And I should have ticked over the 500 by now because I had 100 kilometres in September, but I had a chest infection. I had to pull out.
Oh, that's a shame. So are you planning another long one, or what?
Well, it's been deferred. I already paid for it, so I deferred it to next year. So it will be happening.
Yeah.
I just need to make sure I'm training for a world record at London, which will be the fastest male dressed as a body part, which currently sits at 3 hours 32, which is very fast. And my average pace for a marathon in the balls is something like 5:20. So It's going to be a lot of training over the dark months leading up to April next year at London. So I'm doing all my speed training now, and then I need to get back into ultra marathon mode, which I much prefer because it's so it's not easy, but I'm okay with time on my feet. And
yeah, you can take your time a little bit, can't
yeah,
you, over the longer distance? But that marathon challenge sounds like a tough one. So, what does your training comprise? How much of it will you have to do in the suit?
So the suit is difficult just logistically having it around all the time. It's going to be weighted vest. So the suit weighs about 7 kilograms, although it's really dispersed well. It was built for running with running in mind. So a 7 kilogram weighted suit when needed, but I don't want to wear my knees out. But I'm going to be using, I've got a great training plan through, and I'm hoping that can help me achieve my goals a lot. I've got a train at the moment. I'm training for a sub 40 10K. Just to get the speed work in, get used to that sort of speed at running, because my average kilometre pace, I think, is 6:30. So I need to get it down to 4:10, 4:15. So, yeah, it's quite a shift for me.
Yeah. Is that coming easily to you, or are you enjoying the speed work?
Do you know what? I'm really enjoying the speed work until the day after. What I've realised is the recovery. It's a full-time job, isn't it? Marathon training sometimes.
Yes.
I forget about the recovery. And the last time I did any speed work, I think I was quite a lot younger, and I don't think I had as many children. So I was probably sleeping a bit better. And yeah, I'm bad at just like, I'm going to sit down on the sofa this evening where I should be stretching. I should be rolling my legs out. I should be getting the gun thing. I don't know what they're called. I should be doing all of that to make myself feel a bit better. So everyone keeps saying I'm at you need to be doing yoga and Pilates age, I think.
Yes, I'd agree. Yeah, the Pilates is brilliant for strengthening, and yoga's great for kind of stretching you all out, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is very flexible. She's really into her Pilates, so she's always, whilst I'm lounging, being terrible, she's doing things. I'm like, how are you bending like that? Like, my body's okay with this, you think you're quite fit, but running's all sort of static, isn't it? This same muscle groups. So yeah, I think I've got quite a lot of work to do. This is by far the world record attempt is by far the biggest mental and physical challenge, because the suit is not aerodynamic at all.
No.
Adding 7 kilograms. I mean, I weigh about 74, so adding 7 kilograms is quite significant anyway. And therein comes the strength training that we always want to avoid as well. So everyone keeps saying it's Pilates, yoga, and strength training. I'm like, I don't do any of those at the moment. That's terrible. I just get up and run. So it's just a different beast, and I really need to lock in over these next few weeks to get into that. But I am enjoying the training. I'm enjoying the speed work. It breaks it up. I got very much into the ultra marathons. My ultra marathon style was just time on feet, running at a singular pace, and my body, thankfully, had got quite used to that. It would just go and go and go and go and go, and I've been building up that aerobic base for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I took on like the Hadrian's Wall challenge, which was not easy by any means, but we were doing near like 11-hour days, doing the crags of the Pennines, where the Sycamore Gap is and everything. It was, about 11 and a half hours we were time on feet moving through that. But my body seemed to cope with that a lot better than it does just interval splits. You do that once and I'm in absolute bits.
It's just a different kind of running though, isn't it? I think. I mean, some people really enjoy that, like the speed side of running, but you'd ask them to run an ultramarathon and they'd struggle. And I think it's different disciplines, isn't it, really? So I'm sure you'll get there. Yeah.
It's just different. It's definitely, for me, it's a different mindset. And I think I just need to really, having that end goal in mind is really helpful. I'll be doing it with some runners for the charity. We were very lucky. We've got 12 runners running alongside. So seeing their training happening, seeing them trying to reach their goals, we've got a little WhatsApp group. That's really G's you up. I think with all things with running, having a community around you, being inspired by people that you follow and people that are going for their own goals is, always really inspirational. And when on a horrible, wet 6 a.m. start in, November, December, January, February, when it's cold, I think those are the sort of things you need to wake up to just, yeah, right, we can do this because other people are doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important, isn't it? What's the reaction from the public when you're out at races running in the suit?
They love it. I was very lucky. My our marketing manager at the Robin Cancer Trust is a fantastic runner. We've got a fair few really good runners in the team, but she ran the Royal Parks half marathon with me to capture content and sort of just see if we could put a bit of speed to it. We ended up running like a 1:52 half marathon, which felt nice. That was the fastest I've done by a country mile in the suit. And she just couldn't believe it. She's like, people go absolutely wild for it. She's like, I don't know how you're ever going to go back to normal running. I was like, I don't know. I couldn't just be a normal person in a race anymore. I'd be like, why isn't everyone screaming my name? Because I just feel so lucky. I think people at the races expect something silly. They expect to see people in costumes, and they love it anyway. So people are prepared to see that, and they go a bit wild for it. But people aren't used to seeing something this big and this silly. And I always forget how big they are as well. Like, they almost triple my size in
Wow.
width. And they take, they go up to about near 7 foot above. I'm nearly 6 foot. So like, with the size of it, it's like nearly 7 foot. So they're just really imposing, and people see them coming down the street and they're like, what is that? Is that a heart? Is it a bit of toast? It's like the Superman thing.
Yeah.
Is it a heart? Is it a bit of toast? Oh no, it's a giant pair of bollocks. Okay, right. And people are just so kind. I've not heard anything negative, which I was expecting at least something, roll of the eyes, oh, that's not okay. But young young people, old people, people with young kids, there's been some very funny, what's that nose? What's that? And what's that bum? That hairy bum. My kids thought it was a hairy bum for ages. And it's been really nice because you see the instant, the acknowledgement that you're doing something tough, because it is tough, and then there's a serious cause behind it, because it has Robin Cancer Trust on it. It says the hashtag on the back. So I think even people, the shock factor, which is what it's there for, immediately understand the reasons why they go, oh, it's testicular cancer. And I just love it when people in races are just generally lovely, aren't they? They'll share,
Yes.
they'll share a sweet, they'll share an encouraging word, they'll share a gel if you're struggling, give you some water. But when you're in the suit, I can't speak for other people. There's people who run like rhinos that weigh way more, and there's people that run in those pudsey suits that are just all fur. And I think, how do you do that? At least this has some sort of aeration to it. But everyone's so nice. Runners respect it. I think everyone knows how hard running is. So
Yeah.
when you're running, people give loads of props, and that helps you. And the crowd interaction is lovely. Like, it is part of what the races
Yeah.
bring to you as a runner. We pay quite a lot of money to go run an organised race to get a little bit of metal at the end of it. But actually, it's the experience, it's the joy, it's the community, and this is a really amplified version of that. So I do feel very, very lucky. When I've been running really slowly through the marathons like Brighton and London, people just come up and tell me their stories, which I love. You get this really cool 2-mile, 3-mile connection with someone who's like, oh, my wife works at this hospital on a cancer ward, or my brother was affected, or I'd had that, or I've had this. And just people feeling like in the middle of a race that they can just open up and have a chat with you is such a privilege as well. That's part of what we're doing. It's all about starting conversations and just normalizing all of this. And I think that's what I realized with this. It's about giving people the opportunity to be vulnerable with you, because
Yeah.
it's so silly. Like, it is a giant ball bag. There's no two ways around it. It's the extreme scale of no one else really wants to be doing this. But by doing it, I think it gives people permission to open up about things that they might not have talked about.
Yeah. Does that happen a lot at races? Like, does it spark a lot of conversations like that, or does that come afterwards?
No, it does. When I'm walking around pre-race, I get a lot of people wanting to take pictures, talk to me about it, and just open up about their stories. But literally during the races as well, which I love. Someone would just literally run up to you, give you a fist bump, and be like, "Oh, here's 5 minutes of conversation," or "Here's 2 miles of conversation where I'm just talking to people." And especially afterwards, I've had lots of DMs on Instagram, mainly, of people saying, I found a lump, or I was concerned and I went to the doctor, or partners reaching out and being like, I saw you do this race. I prompted my partner to check himself, or prompted my partner who was worried to go to the doctors, which has been, again, that's just a beautiful byproduct of all this, that people feel that it's sparking those conversations. That's what it's there for, but also feel that they can reach out and have that conversation with me, which I'm just, incredibly grateful, because you never know. You create and buy a giant ball bag costume, and you don't know what's going to happen. You hope these things happen, but otherwise you're just sitting there going, "Oh, I own this really weird costume and I don't know what to do with it." So
well, I'm glad it's going well and having the impact that you're hoping. I mean, do you find people are a bit less embarrassed talking about this nowadays? I feel like there are more open conversations happening around it.
I think we sit at we talk about this quite a lot in the charity. We sit at the extreme end of stigma. Yeah. You talk, there's probably, I would say, prostate cancer, for the way people check, and us is very similar in that way. It's the extreme end. So we work really hard to break that stigma down. That's why we do the big bold campaigns. That's why we use the humour. But again, when you talk about permission, when we make ourselves the joke, or we give other people the permission to be vulnerable, it's so extreme. It has that bleed on effect of other things. So people talk about their mental health. They talk about other cancers. They talk about physical problems that might be going on. And I think that's really important. I think we sit in a place of responsibility with that. We have to work really hard, because if we can break that stigma, then all the other stuff, if you've got a niggle with your knee, or you've got a mole that might be bleeding, or you've got something on your skin that's scratchy, or a pain in your ear that won't go away, like, that's not as stigmatized, because you've been talking to a giant ball bag, or you've been talking to people with giant testicles around their neck at a festival or something. So I think there's a want for the conversation.
Yeah.
There's certainly, I think, the talk about mental health. I think the talk about men being more vulnerable, better role models, because there are good role models for guys out there now. I think it is getting better. But yeah, we just need to keep chipping away at it, because we don't want to stop at certain ailments. We want to go all the way through to the really stigmatized ones where we sit. We need to carry on those conversations, because crack the hardest nut. That's a terrible pun. Crack the hardest nut, and all the rest fall into place. I think it makes all of those conversations easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, it can't be easy running that. I mean, is it hot inside? Is it?
It's reasonable, I would say. Weird stats, as I've run it so much, I do get asked. I think there's like 20% airflow. So it's hard foam, so it doesn't hold any like water weight or anything. It does. But it's got a cover on it, but it's also got like a bit of padding in it, so that does stop a lot of the airflow. It's got lots of holes cut into it to make it really as lightweight as possible, and to allow a bit of air. But yeah, the heat is tough. Like London this year was so hot.
It was warm, wasn't it?
And I'd run Brighton 3 weeks before, where it was hot and windy, and the wind's actually the hardest thing in that, because it's like a sail. It's just so big. I remember running up, if anyone's run Brighton, they will know the hill as you go out of the city, and it was just like a headwind on this hill, and it almost stopped me in my tracks. I was fighting to get up the hill. It was quite nice on the way back, the sea breeze behind me. But then London was just 24 degrees or something, and that was sweltering. But London had done amazingly with the extra water, with the fire hoses and everything. But again, I wasn't going for any pace, so I could enjoy myself. I could get myself soaked. I could pour a water down my back and just carry on. So it's weird, because if it's cold, it's quite nice, because it keeps a bit of heat in. So everyone else is a bit chilly, and obviously rain's not too bad either. We did this run in London with making the testicles recently, and it was pouring down the whole time. But again, my marketing manager was with me, and she was exposed to the elements, whereas I was I can cocoon like a little turtle in the giant testicles and keep myself sheltered somewhat. So it has its pros and its cons, and you never know with April. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I keep thinking about the world record attempt. I could do all of this training, but if there's heavy winds, unless they're behind me the whole time, I'm going to be in a bit of a pickle. But you can only control what you can control.
Yeah, you can, exactly. And as long as you've done your training, that's all you can do, isn't it? And I guess you're relatively sheltered in London, aren't you? It's not that open a course as Brighton is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there should be large swathes of it, even if there's a wind coming in from one direction. Generally should be okay.
Yeah. Had you done London Marathon before this year? No, so that was
No,
your first time. That must have been an incredible experience for you, especially the suit, because I know I've never run in fancy
it,
dress there, but it's amazing. It's so loud.
it was almost overwhelming at times in a really positive. I certainly should not be complaining, but
Yeah,
it's I remember running over London Bridge, and obviously everyone talks about London Bridge. Sorry, Tower. Is it Tower Bridge? I'm
Tower
terrible.
Bridge. Yeah,
Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge. Nothing prepares you for the fact that there's so many people on it, and as you just come off it, there seems to be even more people, sort of stacked up on either side. But running across that with nearly everyone shouting your name
wow.
was almost. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I just wanted to sort of turtle inside the shell, inside the costume, but you can only sort of just thank everyone as much as you can. But it was, yeah, almost overwhelmingly amazing in the best way. You're just not used to hundreds of people shouting your name because obviously Toby's written across those. Toby testicles, go Toby, go Mr. Ball Bag, go giant, scrotum. You get everything, and it's just like, whoa, okay. It's one of my biggest worries about next year is I will be running so fast I won't be able to interact with the crowd. And part of the joy and part of what people want is interaction. But I promise you, I can't run that fast and say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't have that in me, so I might have to get a sign saying I'm very grateful, thank you so much, but I'm too tired to wave or anything. I don't know.
Yeah, have a big like going for a world record sign on you.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
do. I think people are
yeah,
accustomed to that. You have the world
yeah.
record attempt bit on, but yeah, it was an amazing experience. I've never said thank you so many times. It's just people cheering, shouting, and just trying to make eye contact and say thank you to everyone. It was, yeah, London is everything people make it out to be. I actually, at the end, as a funny story, I completely missed that Buckingham Palace was there. I was quite. I was quite focused because you come around a corner and then you're on the Mall, aren't you?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
obviously Buckingham Palace is on that corner, and I'd missed it because I had a picture of Rob, like I had a little flag made, and I was really hyper focused on getting that out. I was obviously quite tired; it'd been really hot, and I was getting it out my backpack, and it was behind me, and I sort of got to the Mall, and then I got it out, and I was like, right, fine. And then I was very, very luckily, about 5 days later after the London Marathon, was invited to a cancer reception at Buckingham Palace, which was again very privileged to be at. And I was in the queue outside, and I saw some people that I was catching up with, and they were like, "Oh, you were here on Sunday," and I was like, "Was I? Where was I?" They were like, "You literally ran there," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even notice. Oh yeah, Buckingham Palace is right near the Mall. That makes sense now." I just completely missed this giant landmark on London because I was so hyper focused on what I was doing. But yeah, I'll be a bit more present next year, I think.
yeah. No, no, that's brilliant. Yeah, you'll know the course as well, won't you? I
Yes.
guess next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You'll know exactly what's coming. And it's quite a nice route there, London, isn't it? It's not too hilly. It's
No, not at
yeah,
all. Amazing. I mean, from the get go as well, you're just right in people. You're quite far out the city when you start, aren't you? But it feels more like a village at that point,
yeah,
and then people are really cheering. The only times that it's quiet is the underpasses. Really, I noticed, but even then, sometimes they just plant a DJ in there, and it's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, just I've never done a major, so I can't compare it to the Paris, any of them, the big city ones
yeah.
either. But I just thought it was everything I thought it was going to be and more. Just even the billboards, like I just love it. You're running around along, you're seeing like these really inspirational billboards up from all the running brands and everything, and yeah. The pride section was amazing. That was really good. But yeah, just incredible support. But everyone talks about the bridge because it's halfway, isn't it? And
It
that
is
is
amazing. I think because you run down that narrow street as well, and it just kind of
mm,
opens up, doesn't it,
yes,
into the bridge,
and
and
you can see
suddenly,
it coming for quite a
yeah.
long way, so it builds up beautifully. The only thing was, I kept getting messages from friends and family being like, I swear, you're being dodged on TV," because they're
Oh, they didn't
tracking
want
you,
to
aren't they?
broadcast
They didn't want
you.
to broadcast. There was like one singular frame where I'm in the background of someone, and I got sent this screenshot about 20 times. People were like, you made it. But it was like a nanosecond. Everyone's pausing their Sky TV, being like, right, that's the frame.
Oh, that's a shame. We need to get the broadcasters on side, don't we, to
I
help
think, yeah, I
spread
think it's
this
the word
message.
bollocks. I think that's what
Right.
it is. Rather than what it is, I do
Yeah.
my username is Toby Talks Bollocks, and then on the
Okay.
back it says Talking Bollocks. So I don't begrudge them. They do have Ofcom to worry about. I'm
They
probably not worth all the
censor it
complaints.
a little bit, I'm sure, couldn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see for next year.
So, what races have you got coming up? Is there anywhere where people can see you in your suit and interact between
Do
now
you
and
know what?
London?
I don't. I think I'm doing a Santa 5K in Southend, like a dress up. But I'm not actually build. I've not got much in the diary just because of the time of year and the training. I'm building all the way through to London.
Yeah.
I'll be at the Colchester Half Marathon. I know that, so because that's our local half marathon, which the Robin Cancer Trust also owns. So I will definitely be there. That's a cheeky plug, isn't it? So
Yes.
it's definitely the best half marathon ever. It is a good one, and it's very well timed for training. But no, I haven't really got much. It's a bit fallow in this time of year, and with the amount of training, dropping in races just makes it a bit harder. So I'm just building all the way through. I will be doing things in the suits. I will
Yeah.
be doing 24-hour runathons with partners and things. So the balls, there's always opportunities. If people have opportunities, I will always travel and go places, and I love running. So I'll always give an opportunity to run around like a giant testicle. But yeah, I'm focused on London, and then after that, I've got the 100K in September.
So, which one is that?
That is the Ultra Challenges Thames Path, which I chose because it's really flat, and everyone, I'm not sponsored by them, but everyone says the ultra events are really well organised. So I wanted something where I knew I could control certain things again and just make sure that it was a race. I wasn't going to get lost mainly. That's my biggest worry. But yeah, I was booked in for this year, was ill. So that's still in the diary for next year. I want to take on the 100K in one. That feels like a really, I don't know, I think that's an important milestone to me. I don't think anyone else.
Milestone, isn't it? Yeah. So what sort of long distance have you done before that?
So the biggest one I've done singularly in the costume is 56.5 kilometers. So in June this year, I ran across the country. So I went from a bit further than Carlisle to the edge of Newcastle, coast to coast. We did Hadrian's Wall plus the extra 10K on the end. And that we did that over 3 days. So I ran with a friend of mine for the first 2 days, and then I ran the last day on my own. But because of road closure, we had to close 5 kilometers early on the first day, and then we had to find our way back and did a bit extra on that second day. That was the craggy up and down through the Sycamore Gap and beyond.
It's tough. I've only walked a bit of that of the Hadrian's Wall, but it's very undulating, isn't it?
Yes.
Like very steep in places.
So it's really interesting. The first 50K, and obviously I kept having these like moments going, oh, it's like you're seeing all terrains, and then you realise you're running 50 kilometres a day. Like you should probably see quite a lot of different terrains. But the first part was slightly coastal, and then it was just like a country park almost. It was just tarmacked. It was lovely. You're running through beautiful countryside, but it was just basically like running through a country park for 50 kilometers. I think we were a full marathon in before we saw our first section of Hadrian's Wall. You're running along, you're going, well, I assume Hadrian's Wall is under the ground somewhere there, or maybe that's it. But then there was a section at a full marathon in. And then the second day, sort of the more Pennines part, is just so undulating. You're not really running that. You're running bits that you can, and then just walking and trying to power walk as much as you can. And that was a long day. And then the last bit I was on my own, and thankfully the wind was behind us. We must have had a easterly wind the whole time, because it got a bit windy on the last day, but I think that really helped me. And then you've been running, you're in the middle of nowhere obviously for 130 odd kilometers, and then you hit the middle of, you're sort of getting towards Newcastle, and it starts getting a bit more industrial. And I remember running out to basically just hit an estate on the outskirts of Newcastle somewhere, and there were some young lads that got very excited on scooters. I won't say what they said to me, but we had a laugh, and then we had a serious conversation. And they were great. They followed me for about 3 miles, just trying to get people to donate. So I just adopted these young children. I was like, they're not with me and I'm not in charge of them as their guardian, but if they can get some donations, that's fine. I was like, guys, I think you've gone far away from your home. You need to go home now. And then I realized I'm just in the zone. You're running and you see sheep, you see cows, you see horses. You don't see many people. People were lovely on Hadrian's Wall, but it wasn't super busy. And then you're just in the middle of Newcastle. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of Newcastle on the Sunday market. So like a mile and a half of thousands of people and loads of stalls. And I'm just this random guy dressed in this giant ball bag, which is like, 3 times bigger than a normal human. And there's just no context. I didn't even have something on me that said, I'm doing a Hadrian's Wall challenge. And I just hit a stop because there were so many people. And there's just me as a giant testicle without context going, excuse me, guys, excuse me. Oh, sorry, coming through. Excuse me, coming through for about a mile and a half through the middle of Newcastle. I thought, what is my life? This is so bizarre. And then thankfully, the little last coastal bit was quite good. I got to just sort of run 10K all the way home, and it was good. But yeah, sometimes you just think this is so bizarre. There's this you get used to seeing these like Jamie Lang things where there's the BBC's there and everyone's like, oh, we understand what's going on, or Sam Thompson's delivering a football and it's all over the media. Like, nope, I'm just a testicle on a Sunday, random Sunday in Newcastle with everyone just going, it's way too early for this, mate. What are you doing? So,
but that's the beauty of the suit, I guess, isn't it? That people will remember you and will probably think,
I did. And again, I had some lovely comments from random people who have obviously found it or taken a picture. I'm just like, as the Geordies do, they're lovely. Away the lads, check your nads, all that sort of stuff. Some donations. It was really good. So yeah, again, people understand it, I think, once they see there's a charity connected to it. They're just not like someone's had a breakdown and it's decided to go for a long run in a big costume.
Yes, yeah. And, I often ask runners what keeps them going on the tough days, but I guess, obviously you are fundraising for a cause that's very close to your heart. So I guess do you ever have issues with motivation?
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, the main part of what I was doing in the build up, so for the last few months, because I felt like my body was in a good place, but I was like, I've never done a challenge like this before. Yeah. I'd run one self-sustained 50-kilometer ultra marathon maybe 2 years before. So I was like, I think my body's in an okay position, but you're always worried about your head going. It's happened to me in marathons before, not at the pace of running, but when I've done previous marathons, I've hit the wall every time. I've done a marathon before at 18 miles, your head goes, everything. It's happened in training a few times for marathons. So it was a real worry. And I was like, okay, I need to work on what do I do if that bit hits? Because, there are just large swathes of time where I'm in between a checkpoint. I had a good support team, but there could be a long time where I need to pick myself up. The weather could turn. It could be, a wind right in my face. And I might go, I've got 20 kilometers here where I need to just get through it. And when you hit the wall, that's really, really tough. So yeah, I took, this is probably a bit oversharing, but I took my mind to some pretty dark places. I was like, well, where can I go to in my training? So I'm visualizing this as I'm going out for every single run. I had a trigger point in music. So I had a specific song that was like, if things get so tough, I'm going to put this song on if I don't think I can carry on. And then I'm going to do some visualization. And again, this is trigger warning, talking about death. And I will skip forward a minute if no one wants to hear this. But I was like, if I can get through my brother dying and that day, and I took myself to that place, and I was like, if I can get through that day, I can get through absolutely anything. And that was a big part of what I was doing going into this. I was like, I need to make sure, I know my body won't give up if I just tell it to keep going, but I need to make sure that if my mind starts to go or does go, that I can pull it back. And I've got a picture up here of in my office of the day after when I went and played football, because that's what me and Rob did the day after he passed. And I've got that picture there to remind me if I can get through that day, if I can still get up and play terrible Sunday league football the day after my brother died with all my mates, again, I can do anything. So I just wanted to make sure I'd done that. And I think that visualization really helped. I didn't actually get to that place, but I felt a lot stronger going into it. And I felt like that was really important, just really connecting to the why. Just keep pushing your body, keep pushing your body. But there was a lot of training, like I say. I didn't, uh, I didn't feel unprepared physically as well. So that was really good.
Yeah.
Again, you just control as much of the controllables as you can. And I talked to all my friends that run ultras. I was running very luckily with a friend that there's levels to running, isn't there? You think I run a 50K, I'm an ultra marathon runner. And then you've got the people that run 100Ks, and then you've got the people that run 100 milers, 250 milers. And we were having these conversations where I was comparing myself to him and he was comparing himself to the 250 milers. And I just thought, actually, I'm in safe hands here. I've got a well veteran person to run with. So yeah, again, the controllables were there. But yeah, it's the mindset is a big part of all of it. Just what gets you up running? What is the reason? I don't think it's, the goal is important. Getting the medal, maybe getting the PBs important, but actually, is it working towards a better version of yourself? Is it inspiring your kids? Is it doing it for a charity? Is it doing for some? I always find it easier to do something for someone else than it is for me. So a lot of my whys either have been about my brother, the cause, the charity, doing something that I set myself. I say it publicly everywhere, so I'm hugely accountable. But also intrinsically, my health. I'm not actually, my health is my health, and I'm conscious of that. But actually, that reason why I'm so conscious about my health now is because I've got kids and I want to be around for them. So even my own health is selfishly, or maybe unselfishly, is about wanting to be around for my children and to be able to pick them up, to be able to move and play with them. So none of my intrinsic drivers about me, I suppose. And I think
That's
that
interesting,
helps.
actually. Yeah. I mean, you touched on mental health earlier. Has running become a kind of outlet for you? Is it something you'll carry on? Does it help through grief and getting through hard times?
Yeah, definitely. So I picked it up, as I think a lot of people did in COVID, in the pandemic. So you get the Google history and the memories and everything, and you think, oh my goodness, like you get something come up, and it's like, I remember doing a 5K in about 35 minutes, and we had a little like community where we'd celebrate, and I thought that was, that's amazing, and it was really cool. I love being able to track my journey over the years of these sort of milestones, being like, wow, I remember celebrating that, and you see where you are now, because sometimes you forget where you are. You're always comparing to the
Yeah.
faster people. I think it's really nice to be able to go, wow, a few years ago, that's what I could achieve. And that's much easier for me now. That is a really nice place to be in. Or I've gone through these setbacks, and actually that was a tough period, but I came out of that and now I can do this. But yeah, I use running absolutely as it's my decompression. The world is busy, and there's, a father to two young kids, run a charity, got a marriage, got housework, got a dog, all of the things that a lot of people have, and I'm sure a lot of people have a lot more stresses. And what I think for running for me is just the quiet time. It's meditative. And, I just I've been listening to the same running playlist for 5 years now. I think I've added about 4 songs. But so I think that's almost, I like the habitual nature of that. It's the same songs, it's the same mindset, it's the same feelings. I think they're almost like audio triggers. I'm listening to that happens, I'm running. Or if I play it in the car, I'm like, oh, I need to go for a run now because I'm thinking about that song. And it's definitely just my decompression. I can feel that build up if I'm not running. And then quite often, if I'm being a bit of an arse, as you can be sometimes, if you're a bit pent up and stressed, my wife might just go for a bloody run. And then I come back and I'm like, oh, I was being an arse, wasn't I? Because I feel great now. I'm so sorry. Let me be normal again now. So I think it's really important, and a lot of people have different switch offs. Some people it is reading a book. Some people it's, I don't know, seeing friends, socializing. But yeah, I find there's just a lot of input. And when I'm running, there can be no input. And it's just me and my playlist or me and my podcasts. I did try metronome running recently. I felt like I was going to fall over. Not for me. I know a lot of people. Apparently, I think faster, more elite people than me swear by it. but maybe I'm doing it wrong. But I felt like my feet were trying to move too fast, and I didn't understand it. I think I'll go back to the podcast. But one thing I have learned is you cannot run and listen to a funny podcast. I can't laugh and run. It's not good for my lungs. Every time I try and listen to, because when I'm driving, I listen to different podcasts. I'm like, need to listen to quite a dry, like maybe a sports podcast or something, or an inspirational podcast. But I'm like, some podcasts are too funny. I'm like, I can't be belly laughing and running. That's not good. That doesn't work for me. So yeah.
Yeah, if anything, you'll get some funny looks from people.
Do get some funny looks because you have your little pods in. I don't think people realise. And then, either you're singing along to something and you're like, oh, actually, people don't know I'm listening to music. Or if you're barely laughing, they take offence because you think they're laughing at them. You're like, nope, just a good podcasting today.
I did want to ask while you're on, just talk to us about those people who, because you've done a TEDx talk, haven't you, on kind of surviving grief. And I'm just thinking about those people who are listening, who are perhaps, maybe they've just lost somebody to cancer or something else and maybe need some help. Do you want to just talk us through a little bit about that and where they can find it?
Yeah, of course. Well, I was lucky enough this was during the pandemic as well, because if people find it, they'll notice I've got a shaved head. And that was a classic COVID haircut. My wife, bless her, was trying her best to keep my hair going and took the razor too far, so I ended up with a shaved head. But it was the time. It was we were supposed to be doing TEDx Colchester, and it was supposed to be on the stage, and you build up to this, and you have these amazing opportunities to meet the speakers and deliver your speech. But the pandemic hit, and the whole thing got cancelled. But the organisers said, go and deliver this on a video, so it doesn't look like a normal TED talk, which is why I'm stood in a room delivering it rather than on the stage. But yeah, I wanted to talk about something obviously that has driven a lot of my purpose in life. And when I come back to who I was and who I am now, it was, Rob's death was the trigger point. Like I said earlier, the idea of running 2 miles in the morning, when Rob said it, I sort of laughed at him. And Jesus, that was a sign that his body wasn't right. But I just thought, well, no one can run that. No, who does that? And I wanted to just put something together that people could reference as, this has been my guide to mucking up, basically. Here's what I've learned, and here's how it might help you. So I put together these 3 steps to surviving grief, and just told my story as honestly as possible with takeaways that I think are relevant to anyone. Mine is an extreme case. I was in a bad way. Something happened to my brother. We set up a charity. That is not the norm. You don't usually 14 years later still doing all of that, running around, getting to do podcasts like this. It's not about that. It's just about taking the awareness of where you are, taking stock of what's happening, and taking just small manageable steps in your life, whatever that may look like, in a way that brings some positive purpose to you and the people around you. I went through a lot of mistakes, and I just want to shorten that learning curve for a lot of people. So I won't give the entire game away, but that's the theme of it. It's available on YouTube. It's called 3 Steps to Surviving Grief. And if anyone's going through something, or I would say supporting someone going through grief, it might be an insight into how they're acting, how you can help them, how you might be able to support them. So
yeah, because grief looks different for everybody as well, doesn't it? So there's no kind of right or wrong way. We'll put a link to that in the show notes so people can click straight through and find it as well. Thank you for that. What do you think Robin would say if he could see what you built?
I don't know if he'd recognise me. There's sort of a beautiful poetry to the fact that Rob had his life in order. I was the messy younger brother, is probably the best way to say it. And I didn't have much purpose in my life. I feel very privileged now that I get to live the life that I know Rob was striving for. When he was very unwell, when he didn't have much time together left, he said, I just wanted to be a dad, and that's one of the most heartbreaking things. He never got to do that, and he never got to meet any of his nieces or nephews. So I feel, yeah, very, very, I don't know what the right word is. It's gratitude. I feel very grateful that I've had the right support around me that has allowed me to build the life. Not that just Rob wanted, but that I never knew I needed. And I can see a lot of mirrors in what I do now. I'm very health conscious. I'm very fit and active. I've got a beautiful wife and kids. I've got a house. I'm very lucky in that regard. I've got a job that brings me endless purpose that I absolutely love. And I get to help a lot of other people. And God, I'd never wish this on anyone, but it happened. And the fact that we've been able to, out of what happened to Rob, create this. And, it's not about us. It is about all the people that we help. We've got an amazing community. We've got all these survivors and thrivers that work with us and help us shape our support services. We build everything with them, and we've got this amazing team. We've got volunteers, trustees that love the mission, that come from all over the UK. And I just think if something, we started and we said, if something good can come from this, it will be worth it. If we can save a life, it'll all be worth it. And I think we've done that. And that's an amazing legacy for Rob. Rob lost his life, but it has saved other lives. And therefore, it doesn't feel like it was in vain. It doesn't feel like any of that was wasted. He still talked about, he still felt, his presence is there. It's, you could say it's guided me. I've got a picture up here of Rob, and his sensible voice is always on my shoulders. And I think my voice has turned into a sensible voice now, which feels like, again, some nice poetry in what's happened. I always looked up to him, and I think I've sort of become him, which is nice.
Yeah, that's lovely. What a lovely kind of way to celebrate his life. So do you want to chat a bit about your podcast? You've just launched the Thrive Against Cancer podcast, haven't you? What inspired that then?
So that was our community. Basically, there had been some amazing podcasts for the cancer community, but they'd just come to their natural progression or weren't renewed. And our community said, we want real stories. It's really powerful for us to be able to access people's, inner therapy, almost just telling raw stories of what they've been through, cutting through any of the inspirational stuff, and just, this is what happened to me. This is what the effects were. This is what I wish I knew. This is what people can get from this story. And yeah, we decided to put it together in podcast format because actually it's so accessible. As you know, we do the video as well, so we put it on YouTube. It's available, but podcast is so accessible. And actually, for cancer patients, when they're going through treatment, chemotherapies, recovering from surgeries, there's a lot of time where they might not have a lot of energy to sit and watch something, but just putting the pods in, just maybe you might be going through treatment actively that day, sitting for hours on end. We want to make something that not everything needs to be short form. Sometimes there is a long form piece that is really important. You can really delve into it. And we started with, good intentions and a bit of funding. Macmillan funded it, and the Ardonna Community Trust. So again, they believed in the project and they helped us get it off the ground. And we're nearly 30 episodes in now, and we have had we have had some amazing guests. It's all about just telling everyone's story. So different cancers, different diagnoses, different prognoses, different life stages, different effects, different treatments. But what is absolutely incredible about it, as I'm sure you find in your, I think it's a point of privilege being a host, is you see the themes and the threads that connect everyone. And that's what I love about running. You can be from all walks of life, but once you start plodding one foot in front of the other, there's something that connects you. And then you realize a lot of people are doing it for simply health, mental health. You've been something, you want to achieve something. It drives purpose. I love that in running. And I see that with the cancer community, these stories. And whatever stories we tell, we always ask the same 5 questions at the end. Excuse me. I can tell I've been talking too much. We ask these same 5 questions to make sure that there's always a bit of continuity, one of the questions is, what's the biggest lesson you've learned from having cancer? And just hearing people going through the most traumatic, life-altering things, and then their view of the world afterwards, or view of the world while they're still going through it, or view of the world whilst they're always going to be going through it, it's just incredible. And it helps bring a perspective that I feel very grateful to have a constant reminder for. So again, I would say as a podcast, you'd think it would just be for cancer, people affected by cancer. Absolutely. Anyone that either wants to support someone going through cancer, or even wants to be prepared if someone might be affected by cancer, which, when it's 1 in 2 is mostly most of us. It's just amazing. The amount of people that listen to it, I'm like, I didn't know if this was going to be for me, but wow, I wish I'd known that when my colleague or my cousin or my friend was going through it. And I just think everyone needs to hear these stories. They're absolutely amazing. If you want a bit of inspiration, a lot of emotion, and just a different perspective on the world, it's absolutely incredible.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, we'll be sure to check that out. That's the Thrive Against Cancer podcast.
And we've had Andy Hood, who was previously on your podcast. He was one of our earliest episodes, and he's a fantastic podcast guest, but so insightful. And people listen to him, we go really in depth on his story. So shout out to Andy, because he's brilliant.
Yeah, he came on the podcast a while back, also talking about testicular cancer awareness. So thanks, Andy, if you're listening. So do go and have a listen back to that one as well if you haven't already. Thanks, Toby. It's been brilliant chatting to you today. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you want to mention?
No, I feel very, very full up on what we've talked about. We're very grateful to talk about Rob, talked a bit about me, talked about testicular cancer, how to check, and the big Ballsy challenge. You've given lots of time to talk about all the other things we do as well. So I would just say, if anyone's running, they find that something's not normal for them, and they're concerned about, testicular, ovarian cancers, general cancer symptoms, go and get them checked out. That's all, we're all, as runners, we need to be in tune with our body. I think we overthink it during races when something starts to hurt. But if something's hurting outside of that, and it's just, you don't know what's going on, as you would go to the physio, if it's something that needs to be checked by a doctor, please just go and do that. That's the only takeaway. You're normal, very in tune with your body. Anything outside of that, just get it checked out straight away, because we all know, just like a knee pain, you might need a new pair of running shoes, you might need a bit of physio. If it's your testicles, just need to go get them checked by a doctor to make sure absolutely nothing's wrong. So that's it.
Yeah, and I think the key thing to say is that it is very treatable as well, isn't it? So there's no need to be scared to go to the doctor, because I think that often prevents a lot of people from going, doesn't it? The fear. So
95% curable at stage 1. So the longer you leave it, the more complicated things can be. So as with all things, quick action saves the day.
Right, thank you very much, Toby. All the very best with your world record attempt. Do please keep us posted with how you're getting on with that. We can't wait to hear all about it. And if you'd like to support the Big Ballsy Challenge or learn more about the work that Toby and his team are doing, then we'll pop all the links in the show notes. As always, if you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, tag us on social media at UK Run Chat, and help us spread the message. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.